Citizens Forum. I am FEMI OSINUGA.
And I am FOLARIN. A warm welcome to you.
This morning, our focus on Citizens Forum is TINUBU's cost-cutting measures, missing links and effects on governance. For months, Nigerians have been expecting President TINUBU to reshuffle and trim his cabinet. While inaugurating the cabinet last year, he had read a riot act to ministers that he would drop any of them who constitute a clog in the wheel of progress. Some of the ministers have lived up to the expectation, while most of them are rated very low in performance. Also, the constitution of the cabinet has also been criticized. Some analysts believe the cabinet is bloated and will expand the bureaucracy and increase the recurrent expenditure, which Nigerians are expecting to drop to release more funds for critical capital projects. When President TINUBU headed for London and later to Paris on a working vacation, the speculation was that it was for a different purpose. But days after returning from the working leave, the president announced a shake-up of his cabinet as part of cost-cutting measures to reduce the cost of governance. He fired 5 ministers and scrapped 2 ministries. At the same time, he appointed 7 new ministers and more aides. He also announced a cut in the security operatives attached to ministers and the numbers of vehicles in their convoys. For Nigerians battling with economic hardship, the move was regarded as too little and too late. In today's edition of Citizens Forum, we are looking at the TINUBU's cabinet shake-up and measures to cost governance. And right now, we have with us on the line Professor Sunday OWOLABI. He is the professor of accounting, BABCOCK University, Elisha Remo. Good morning, Professor. It's good to have you on the line.
Good morning.
All right, Professor, let us have your general overview looking at the president's cost-cutting measures, in looking at the governance, cost of governance.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, dear listeners. We have all read and heard about the attempt of our president to reduce the cost of governance by practical demonstration of reduction of certain levels of cost, reducing the number of security personnel to the ministers and the rest, and also the number of some of the expenses that could be incurred and that has done. Based on this, one would say that he is trying to let us know that they are doing something to reduce the cost of governance. Therefore, all of us will feel the current pain that we have in Nigeria. In real sense of it, if one is not careful, one may call it a film trick. It might look like a film trick. Why will I say that? The area that the president has gone to say is cutting costs is an immaterial area, grossly immaterial. The cost that we reduce from that angle compared to our budget is less than 0.000001. So the impact may not be fair. However, it's good to give us a flavor of seriousness that they are also doing something, and we can also see that it's coming up with some other things. We expect him to go further. There are other things to be done. He says we expect him to go further and do more meaningful things that will definitely impact positively in the economic development of this nation. And so my first reaction to that, the step he has taken is that it's okay. It's a practical demonstration of saying we are doing something, but he has not even started at all. Because we may not necessarily feel what he has done at all. Okay. It is grossly immaterial.
Okay. What are these other things that you want him to do?
Thank you, my dear. He has a lot to do. Number one, I will expect him to consolidate the MDAs. He should go and consolidate the ministry, department, and agencies. There are too many, unnecessary many, and they can be combined. There are so much duplication of duties and functions. You have the Ministry of Livestock now, and you also have Ministry of Agriculture. What are we talking about? If you want to do anything under that livestock, and you talk to the ministry, to the permanent secretary. And they create a department and they have a director. Under that ministry, and they start working. But when you have a ministry now, you have different kinds of aides, different kinds of directors, different kinds of special advisors to the minister, and you waste another several hundreds of millions. Then it needs to work on fuel efficiency management. That's when you talk about the gasoline, petrol, all those things we are talking about in Nigeria. The prices are becoming unbearable and unreasonable, and it has not stopped. So I think they need to sit down and scientifically review the process. Why am I saying that? All of us expected that when Dangote refinery begins to work, the cost of petrol will crash in Nigeria. Because there is no import duties, there is no need to pay for shipping, there is no need to pay for clearing, there is no need to pay for different kinds of border fees, port fees, and other things. Which carries about 60% of total bill of the landed cost of those things. So if now Dangote is not paying for all those things, and what we discover and what we see is that the cost is going up again. It's becoming a problem. He has a lot to do in that area. Right. He has more to reduce the number of political appointees and political aides. He has to demonstrate that. In fact, the ministry has to be refilled and cut them down to about 20 or 15. Marks of ministries and have directors to work under them and report. The number of political appointees, the advisor to this, advisor to that, there are too many. Need to cut them to about half. Cut off about almost half or 60% of those. That's where we are going to have material impact. Then in the National Assembly, it seems to have the majority there. APC has the majority there. And if my assumption is correct, which I think it is, why not call yourself to a round table and discuss how to equally reduce the salaries and expenditure of National Assembly? It's too heavy. This is an area that can materially reduce the cost of governance. Then budget padding is a terrible area in Nigeria. Duplication of budgets, duplication, exaggeration of costs, constituency project that you never see in any constituency. There should be a professional body that is, Nigeria should grow up. They can invite people like CIBL, ICANN, ANA, CIS, Chartered of Stockbroker, Chartered Accountants, both ANA and ICANN, Chartered Bankers. Okay, this is the budget from the National Assembly. Help us to screeners and advise us what is there. A non-profit organization has done that before. And no, they didn't listen. When it becomes a part of TINUBU's agenda to scrutinize the budget after everything, people will see what we are talking about. And a lot of millions and billions will be saved from that kind of things. Then we need to also be sensitive to our accountability process. Most of the civil servants, I'm sorry, need to be scrutinized. I call it social audit. Civil public servant social audit. I don't know where a director in the federal ministry will get salary to go and build mansions in about 10 or 15 places in Abuja. Where is that money coming from? It's from the cost of governance. These are cost of governance. The corruption at that level is so high, is so much, that he has to establish a special ministry reporting to himself, not a ministry per se, like we are going to have a minister, a department rather, will be reporting to the presidency by social audit of federal civil servants and see their way of life, whether they can justify it with the income that they are getting from the government. I'm happy that he spoke about security, people that escort the ministers. A number of vehicles. Reduced to 5 and 1 of them is SSS. That's okay, but it's not material effect. We don't have material effect on what we are talking of trillion. We are talking of trillion. Look at this budget. This year, we are running a budget of, we are expecting 18.32 trillion naira. Our expenditure is 27.5. And that expenditure now, the current expenditure carries about 60% of it. And that's the one they will rush to fund. Other ones are not funded. Those are the ones they run to fund. These are issues that are very, very serious and germane that need to be looked into. How to address all these things. So, a conclusion for that area, I want to suggest that the president at least try to show us some practical demonstration that he's intending to do something. But he needs to do it in the area where people will say you have worked. One, why will the cost, the budget becomes a problem that where those are the area where the lawmakers are waiting, and even the budget is corrupted. Before you now talk of the execution, if the budget is corrupted, why would the execution not be corrupted? This is a big problem. Every year our budget are inflated by more than 1 trillion because of what constituency project here or there is started into the budget from different angles. And at the end of the day, this money will be released to them, and nobody will be able to see what they are doing with it. These are part of the cost of governance. So cost of governance and corruption is a major problem that we have to address if this country must move forward. I talked about the petrol briefly. It is the corruption that is giving us that problem. And there are less than 1,000 that are disturbing the peace of this country. There are less than 1,000. I'm sorry to say I'm on radio, but they are wicked. All of us can say it, unless we are pretending. Wicked. Wickedness of the highest order. Demonic. There are less than 1,000. It's a group, it's a cabal. Disturbing. You look at the NMPC cannot talk, cannot refine three refineries. In how many years now? President Obama came up with an idea of I must do this power. Budgeted billions of dollars. We didn't see any result. I'm not even sure whether they spent up to 100 million to that project. We didn't see any result. Nothing. See today. And this is the same group. So we need to, as we pray more, we have to talk to ourselves. Cost of governance is very high. Yes, basically because of corruption. An item of 1,000 becomes an item of 1 million. Not because somebody is waiting to collect money from the other end. So I think President TINUBU, if he's serious, and we want to keep serious, like he said, that has enough money, you have to steal Nigerian money. It has attempted to believe. But there's a practical demonstration of that. By doing the right thing and reduce practical cost of governance. God doesn't accept it order. Those who are there, his friends, they are party members. From the record, see how we structure the National Assembly salary. Is the way everybody talks about what is going on the other side. In the Nigeria, money take over the end of every month. Where a professor is going home with less than 500,000 naira. Somebody that is going with about 38 million naira every month. How do you reconcile it? And if I tell that it's easy to want to ask it or in a month, about 5 months in a month, unless there are issues that are trying to get attention. They have done it again, but there was one business interest. A professor will be living at night. I'm using professor for that's where I belong. And that's what I do. You don't know it. In the morning, you have to do it. You like you mark budget, you thesis, you defend thesis, you do everything, you do research, you elaborate everything. At the end of the money that you buy, you get to. Or what you get to. And somebody will see you corner there, taking 30 something million. For doing nothing reasonable. So, you know, should be very, very serious. This is the practical to cost reduction. And the first way of raising funds, as I've been teaching as a professional line, the first way of raising funds is cost reduction. Right. You don't have to tax here. It's easily reduce the cost of government alone. Go in for cost control. We can't have everybody have peace. The bag of rice is now 1,000 naira. Can you imagine our children don't know it? A professor was children took 450,000 naira at the end of the month. First of all, buy rice for one bag of 120,000. Before they now get out that thing, the children will pay school fees. They will do a lot of other things. They will pay house rent, electricity high now. You buy the for the cow, you drop the children, you take care of the mother. You ask the mother to take care of. It becomes a asset to be in this present discourse, it becomes a asset. For you to say I want to be upright, I want to be honest, they make you look like a fool. And you know why? Because of the people in governance. The National Assembly board has left my house, less than 4 years ago. It's having over the country. I am carrying Is it starting? Oh, yeah, yourself in Yoruba language. That's what we are doing.
Okay,
Prof.
The
economic measures, you economists are the ones who are recommending that subsidy should be removed and all these things. So what steps can you take again?
What I think you should do is so simple. Honestly speaking. After remove the subsidy, removal of subsidy is not our problem. The corruption in the process of those who do not want him to subsidy for removing is the problem.
Okay.
I am giving you a simple analysis. Look at things right now. Is he buying dollar? He is not buying naira. So how does Nigeria affect that? That's number one. Number two, is he paying any duties? Is he paying anything at the port? Is he paying any company? Why is it that production of petrol will not reduce the cost of petrol? Why? Because of this wicked cabal. That they are the 1,000. They are the one disturbing the lives of more than 250 million human beings in this country. Is this a limit to what the president can do at a particular time was competitive? Because he will still use people to do these things. He cannot sit down in the ministry and begin to calculate the number of supplies. People will still give him a report. But these guys are so rich that they can pay anybody's price. And that's what is killing us. So I'm not telling you that this guy can pay anybody's price. I got that statement from Sanusi. He has been shouting about this about for long. How many NPC loan in meeting? More than $200 billion. Shouted by Sanusi. Several trillion of naira. He said as a CBN governor, I'm not paying this money. Let's see ID. Millions of dollars. Where is it ID? He has questions. It's the same cabal. And I also that I come in bunkering. The same cabal. A poor man cannot go and do bunkering. And how does he know how to go about it? Where will he send it? Which tribes will he use to take it? Which equipment will he use to operate? So we are talking about content. Is this cabal? They have their private ship there that they are using. So I don't know how it's going to break. If it's not part of there, I don't know how it's going to break it. Or they will break that particular cabal in the cellular industry. We cannot succeed in this country. It's not a cause, it's a reality. We have all said it. We have all said as proud as Tanzania is, number one African richest man in Africa. If he can stand and say, I am the state cabal, I don't know cabal is the biggest, but this is the toughest cabal I've ever seen in the world. Do you know what it means? This is a man that controls billions of dollars to sell. So we have to pray the prayer that the great Pharaoh, that God bring these cabals down and do something big in our country. We don't pray for this intervention. We don't pray for it because it's not paratic worship. But this is reason we have military people fight for places. Look at Burkina Faso now, look at Nigeria. I pray we don't lose ourselves to that one because none of us is praying for anything like the military coup again. You don't want to lose anybody. But people should also behave in a manner that God will grant them peace and God will not use iron hand to deal with them. But when God is ready to hand, nobody can stop him. And it's going to be free. He can very bitter. When God prepared to act and listen to the cry of the poor and listen to the cry of the wicked. Look at how much you are also spending on security. Billions of dollars every year, and they are just stealing this money, Nigeria. Stealing this money. Look at the one in that sector, what they call this. The billions of dollars he took away from security. Do you remember? That's what ONANUGA. Billions of dollars, but how did you remember? 2 trillion. And he shared it, and I gave something to one prophet to pray. I prayed something to one, and it was as if they are playing draft, as if they are playing Lulu with the human lives. Our boys, our men, the Boko Haram, when they took weapons, first-class weapons in their hands, and you give Kaka to our own children, our sons, our brothers, to go and face them. The money they give you, you pocketed it for your family and your children, your friends, and your clique. And you think God will not have one day. So we are also hard. Woman is also hard. So that's another area that we can use God of governance. Because they are how they break this terrorizing. Take all those ministry involved. We read it online. There are several videos. If you listen to those who are behind this terrorism, Boko Haram, kidnapping. When you let me tell you something. Have you seen some that they were catch? Have you seen their faces? They don't look like a comfortable. They don't look like someone who's comfortable. But they are the returns to those who are in their condition. Who said them? Who are in different kinds of solutions and gas.
Okay.
So all these areas we are able to check, we can reduce cost of finance effectively. And this area, TINUBU should look into and quickly do something that maybe the whole world says they have done well.
Thank you very much, sir, for your thoughts.
Thank you so much, Professor Sunday OWOLABI, for being available for us now.
I'm just available. I've cancelled the class. I'm just available in case we for further discussion.
Okay, definitely. We will definitely call you back after the national news to get reactions to questions from our colleagues. Thank you. All right. And we just spoke with Professor Sunday OWOLABI, the Professor of Accounting from BABCOCK University, Division Remo. Right now with us in the studio, we have Mr. TUNDE ABATAN. He is a publisher, former deputy editor, Daily Independent, and he's also a communication consultant.
He's publisher New Dawn, Nigeria.
Okay, he's also the publisher of New Dawn. Good morning, it's good to have you in the studio.
Good morning, listeners. It's a pleasure to be here.
And we will be speaking with the presidential spokesman in person of Mr. BAYO ONANUGA, also during the course of the program. But let's go to you, Mr. TUNDE ABATAN. Let's have your own overview. Now, as a normal citizen, as a journalist, what do you see to President TINUBU's measures in cutting cost of governance?
Well, over the years, we have had the opportunity to study various governments in Nigeria. But the problem has always been that we always have these countries that we used to put into fundamentals. Yes, it is easy for anybody to come into government and introduce changes. But the moment you refuse to institutionalize those changes, when you give power, somebody will come back and revert it. Yes, President TINUBU may mean well, but the problem is that all the changes that former President TINUBU initiated, they reverted it because of our structure. So the first thing is that, number one, let's institutionalize all the changes we make about government. Number two is that we have to come together in what is happening in this country to shape a lot of the structural deformity that we have in the country. Structure that will allow an accountant general to have to steal 101 billion naira. While the ASU people were on strike, how much were they asking for? Asking for the reformment of the university system, asking for more remuneration. They were even asking for more convenient environment for students. Then somebody can steal 101 billion. Just recently, when it was the EFCC was able to take 30 billion from him, so now they are letting him again when he's coming in. He was asking, he was surprised that he could still take it back to court, which means he was expecting the EFCC to allow him to go with 80 billion naira. The amount of money that is enough to probably use for some state in West Africa. So having said that, I also believe that President TINUBU, though he told both patriots who said 2 months ago that he will not restructure the entire state economy. It is the structure itself now that is destroying the economy. So number one is that there has to be a stakeholders meeting of all those people who are genuinely interested in having a new Nigeria. Because except of all, you know if the foundation is weak, there's nothing like an industrial country. There's no amount of changing that matter. It is the structures that we have to change and look at whether the structure can carry this. It's like when you are running a business. At any point in time, you look at your expenditure, you look at your running costs, and you also look at whether we are making profit or not. The moment your running cost is far outstripping your revenue, then you have to do something about that for you to succeed. The moment the money you are using to run the system is too much, then there's no way the system will not collapse. Now, the OPEC give us 2.5 million barrels per day. Yes, until President Buhari left because of insecurity. Yes, he did not produce more than 1 million barrels. Thank God, the last 18 months. Now, President TINUBU was able to produce 1.6 million. But now, 97% of that money was being used to service our debts. Thank God that he has reduced it to 74%. But then, if there is no structural changes that will reduce the cost of governance, another person will come. Yes, he can push it to 2.5 million barrels for a country of 220 million, which means the cost of running the government will also stay eating deep into the extra money we are making after deducting all the obligations, international obligations we have to. Number two is the fact that the Orosori report that was committed by President Obasanjo, former President Jonathan had no political will to implement it. General President Mohamed Buhari too had no political will to implement it. He kept it inside the drawer, the report, for obvious reasons, for political reasons and reasons of ethnic solidarity and consideration. But I think that so far, President TINUBU has demonstrated that he wants to reduce it. You see, there's one thing I want to have been telling people about President TINUBU's government. Though you might not have listened to where this is the first time in the history of Nigeria we are having the excess investment in charge of power. All those people are just military people, civilians, and politicians who so many know it's to make money. But he wants to make money for Nigeria before Nigeria spends the money. Yes, it is good for a businessman. But the thing is that when the structure that is in place will not allow you to even save the money in the first instance, how do you move the nation forward? So, thank God that he has commissioned a committee to review the report. And I am telling you as we speak today, we have about 256 government agencies with overlapping functions, like the professor said. So the best thing is that the last committee recommended 67. Let him face the whole hog instead of looking at political expediency. Because naturally, if they have to prune down those 67 to affect some structure, I was watching television yesterday. We still have a body known as the National Commission for Nomadic Education. What kind of rubbish is that in this kind of country that we are still tied up to that? So number two is that President TINUBU has to implement and bring out and publish a white paper on the Orosori committee. That is the fundamental thing to do. There's no need. You have a Minister of Foreign Affairs, and you also have a National Diaspora Commission. It should be a department in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And when you look at all the organs of government, it is like that, duplication all over the place. Because you want to give people position and appointment, and we are employing people. Imagine the Nigerian National Corporation, the NNPC then, not NNPCL now. Because NNPCL now is not a business concern. And that explains, that's the meaning of the regulation. Nigerians, we are just talking. We never knew. Most of the members of the national government read the report of the PIA. The moment President Buhari signed the PIA, it means Nigeria's oil industry has been deregulated. That is the reason why we have NNPCL, that is now a company that wants to be remitting money to the federation account. In the last 30 years, they were not doing that. And the first time they made profits. Now, to effect that thing, while keeping the Kaduna refinery, that you have been spending 10 billion every month to pay remuneration, and not even turn around to pay remuneration for producing nothing. And we have been talking about turning around. Yes, I've been hearing that one since I was in secondary school. We won't finish turning it around. So after they have completed the mechanical process of the refinery, especially the Port Harcourt. After completing the process, maybe it will take 12 months last year, because Dangote took 16 months after completing the mechanical process to take off. Then the government privatized it. Don't allow civil servants to run it. If you allow civil servants to run it, it will take us back to what happened 5 years ago. So these are part of the measure. Number two is that we are tired of looking at federal government all the time in Nigeria. That side was imposed on us by the military because of the militarism of Nigerian system. Not only at the federal level, after President Obasanjo has succeeded in institutionalizing, letting go to the National Assembly, at any point in time, these are the 40 institutions that we need in Nigeria, and these are the things that they're supposed to be doing. Then that one will be institutionalized. Nobody will come and revert it. Number two is the fact that when you do that, you cut down the number of ministers. Automatically, they will fall in place. There's no need for a country having 53 ministers now. Yes, so the constitution stipulated that we have to have 36 ministers. But I think we can have a consensus about the fact that it is not the number of ministers that matters. It is their effectiveness. When I was in secondary school, I can name, because I was very conversant with college, I can name all the ministers in Nigeria. And we know that they are having effect. What is the essence of having 53 ministers that are not having effect on the ordinary citizens on the street? So that is another way. That's why I said we need a consensus, both between the political class, the National Assembly, everybody that all the ministers that you are picking, 20 or 15 ministers, they are serving Nigeria, they are not serving their village. So all that section in the constitution has to be expunged. In as much as we are also going to expunge that the issue of local government autonomy, section 7, all these are part of processes that will lay a fundamental for reducing the cost of governance. Because without doing this thing, and now want to revert to that 1999 constitution that is as obnoxious as you can think of. Another thing is that the state government too, the sub-nationals, we have three types of governments in Nigeria. People used to say state, the federal, state, and local government. But there's something I want to tell you. We have 801 governments in Nigeria. I will tell you, we have federal government, we have 36 state governments, 36, 774 local governments. All of them are collecting money at the end of every month. All of them has laid down regulations to do. If the state governors will allow the local government to function, look, at a time when I could remember when I was in the 80s, local government chairman, every point every year, they will come with their budget. They will read the budget to the people at a town hall meeting. I can cite the example of late Titi Adelaku, BC Rodipe, and many others in the They will read their budget. You know what they are going to execute. That was under military rule. But now, under civilian rule, it is a governor will just sit down somewhere. There was a time I read sometime last year. Thank God that they are now allowed the fact to be published every month. How much is it? There was a time my local government, they had $900 million in the month. And I wonder why they use the money for. And you cannot feel the impact. If the local governments are collecting their money and spending it in their locality, the economic hardship in Nigeria today will not be as hard as it is today. I'm telling you. Because if a local government is to award the contract, they will not call Jonas Berger to come and execute it. They will look for a local contractor. By using local contractor, the money is due down to the people. But I'm telling you, as we are today, as small as the money we are distributing from far is small, we can still make it to go around and pushing the effect. The SME, every other thing. In UK and other places, it is local government that are building houses for people. So until we do all these things, we should not just look at the president at the top. Everybody, president at the top. Does not mean what are the governments they are collecting. We have to know that because except of course we do that, there's no amount of resources.
What about for the sense of giving autonomy
the federal government set up a committee to implement, headed by the Secretary of Government of the Federation. Yes, it is right. But the issue of immunity for government. Look, politicians, for as long as an advocate for federalism, true federalism, everybody has to be. But if governors have been allowing the local government to work, system to work, there's no need for the federal government to not think of saying that we want to set up a committee that will monitor the implementation. If we respect our laws, the moment the money is released by the FAC, because of the political constitution, it is the governor that determines all local government chairmen in his party. And have you ever seen any state where local governments have election have been conducted? Any ruling party declare that is not democracy. Look, do you know why you have to allow local governments are the closest to local governments to work. And the local government chairman is popular than the governor. And I will tell you why. Because people know their local chairman. If you fail in your responsibility, people can vote you out. If people vote you out, it means you have given democracy to the people. Because the local government chairman on his own, he will sign that he has collected so amount of money, whereas you only collected a token of the money released from the federation account. So it is this particular thing that's why I'm talking about institutions.
But the Supreme Court judgment.
Let us hope that they will be emboldening themselves. If it will embolden them, if the federal government, I know all the governors, they don't like doing that. But you see, somebody has to take a hard decision in the sense that will show that you are working. Okay, before taking the state government support, do you know that the money that was released during the COVID as palliative, did it go down to the people? If the money had gone down to all the 77 governments, there may not be any reason for President Tinubu. After all, he said, yes, they are hiding other states, joint and local government. So if they are allowing it to work, there's no need for setting up a 7-man committee to still pursue that money, and make sure that it works. Then the political aspect of it, our politicians and local government shall not be afraid of their governors, that it can be removed. Until we also change that clause in the Nigerian constitution, that no elected local government can be removed. When you remove him, if you remove anybody, your allocation is going to be seized. If it is seized, the people now know that to face our government. You see, we have laws in Nigeria, but it is the implementation of that law that is blocking the real progress of Nigeria. Let governors be magnanimous enough. After all, they receive enough money. They receive back money. They receive a lot of funding, globally, externally. And between June last year and now, the monthly allocation from the federation account has more than about 40% for each of states in Nigeria. What are we using the money for? Go to our local schools. You see that they are more or less glorified training classes. So the thing is that let morality reign supreme in the heart of our government. Because I'm talking about governors because federal government will not seize the fund of any state. Have we ever heard any state when the federal government seizes the fund of Lagos State, the whole world cried. You president is not everything. But now, no local government has the courage, except my colleague. I can mention it. He was pressing for coming out to say our money has been seized. And unfortunately for all the local government chairmen, they went and prostrate. In fact, all of them should not be reelected if there is election tomorrow. If we have a polity, that is why I'm appealing to all our CSOs, civil service organizations. Let them focus their attention on how state governments are being run, how local government, whether they are collecting their money. Because if they are collecting this money and spending it in the locality, the economic pressure we are going through will reduce. To have effect. So these are the ways. Because when you say reduction in cost of government, when you reduce them too, and the money still end up in one pocket. So all these things are necessary to ensure that Nigeria had a better way. After all, with the removal of subsidy, federal government is making more money locally, state government is making more money. I'd like to refer to what Professor said about Dangote. You see, there's a lot of things that we don't know. They just started giving Dangote naira for crude last week. Just last week. The first set of crude that had been used to refine were imported by him. As a businessman, I don't believe people brief for them because they are monopolists. As a businessman, we don't expect them. Me personally, I was expecting. But Nigerians have too much expectation that 650,000 barrels per day. What was the process of him breaking that thing about? He sourced crude oil externally. Now, if we source it locally now, let us pray that other refineries will work. If other refineries work, after Dangote was because up till now, Dangote has not even been able to meet local demand, in spite of the fact that he has 6,000 capacity. Because you also have to look at the capacity of the NNPC to meet him after meeting obligations that have been paid for. They are paid for a lot of obligations. So if the NNPC out of, let's say 1.6, 1.5 million barrels per day, maybe 1 million barrels has been pledged as loan externally. So 500,000, the remaining 500,000, if they give it to Dangote, is it enough for him? No, it is not enough. So all this thing comes into play. So we really need men of conscience in all aspects of Nigerian life to be able to do things well, let us accept that
NNPC has become a company, not a corporation. That the corporation was set up not to make profit. But now we now have an NNPC company that wants to be contributing money to the traditional account. So as the federal government is making more money from the oil companies, national oil companies, the royalty that we are collecting, that NNPC too will be making money from the local oil they are refining by selling to others.
So let
Dangote too have been in a position to do that. When they sell for him in naira, the cost of production of the Dangote oil should come down. How come it has not come down?
It's full of thought believes that the intention of the that's still the old one. You are saying that the PIA is
well, I think that they should be yes, would that be personal? Because we are talking about structures. I don't even believe in that. Somebody
if you have a new structure,
if you have a new structure, you also have to know that Mile Kyari was appointed as the managing director when the NNPCL took over. I don't know. The thing is that let us look at the structure. If the structure and the structure is very, very powerful, look, the movement is not more performing. You believe that and they appoint, let the board of directors. NNPC has a board of directors. So don't let us look at Kyari. Let us look at the system. Because if it's not making more money, like for instance now, if you build a state built a hotel, 500 bed capacity. The government has no business doing business. Give it out to tell manager to manage for you. Oh yeah, give me 500 million every year. I don't care whether you need to. If he cannot make the 500 million every year, you can terminate the contract. So if NNPCL now under the PIA cannot make a certain amount of money every year, let them dissolve the board of the NNPCL, and the board will now appoint another managing director. As the president table, because Nigeria is a shareholder, and don't forget that the NNPC has 7.5% holding it on behalf of the federal government.
So the thing is that when we look at the institution, there are a lot of things that you can do on that particular thing. So let us look at the way in which they make
now the NNPC is now a player. They are no more sold of the They are not a player in Nigeria or they want to make money. It is now obvious on them to make sure that the refineries work. When the refineries work and they make money from it, because NNPC, all the refineries are under the NNPC, even though they are independent organs. When they work, the government will now give them a target. If we are unable to meet this target, the board should be dissolved.
You're mentioning structures. How can we strengthen our institutions so that we currently have strong politicians who are ruling? How can we strengthen those institutions? What are the things to do?
Well, the thing to do is that everybody has to play his role as party. It's because we love the issue of big men in politics in Nigeria. And big men, when they are leaving, just like the state government. Have you ever seen any state government? I don't know what to explain. The next person look at it. No, they don't have they do for and fresh. So the best thing is to strengthen the institution is that let us go back to that constitution. You know that Nigeria is run as a business. You don't do business. Nigeria is run as a private entity of anybody who chooses to be president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So that is why they are afraid to strengthen the institution. Now, if there's a judgment, for instance, look at judgment by the Supreme Court when President Obasanjo was in power. He refused to implement Supreme Court judgment. In a civilized democracy, the National Assembly should issue for using the rule of law. So what we are saying is that if you can have judge, men of strong courage in no institution, if you are the managing director of a government company, and the president or the governor sent a list to you to appoint, and you say that these people cannot contribute to the development of this thing. If the man is, you can resign for your position. When you resign your position, which means you are sending a strong message to the general public that look, you cannot do it, we have to run it. So it is in my mind that we have to do it. But when you have a president that is not benevolent, that is authoritarian, he will still short-circuit it. So where America has got to today, where Britain has got to today, is because of the fact that the people themselves, they make up their mind. Like I said, the local government, let not need to ask our chairman, what are you using our money for? Let people form themselves to choose. CD, let us ask them, what are they using our money for? We should not be expecting someone to come and enforce the law when they know that the people are enlightened. The institutions should be strengthened. And anybody who said the institution at any point in time will know that the people are with him. He can resign at any point in time. So that is the best way to set the institution. The people themselves must make up our mind that we want to have a better society.
It's the
interest of liberty. It's very important.
So Mr. Tunde ABATAN, so if you have the opportunity of speaking to Mr. President right now, what would you advise to him in
my advice to him, let him sit down. Let him forget every political expediencies and constitution. Let him call a meeting of all members of the National Assembly, senior officers of the National Assembly, by the fact that they have to personally sacrifice. It's about sacrifice. If they don't sacrifice, look, let me tell you something. During the Second Republic, which I am aware of, I was not too young. I never heard the word constituency. The function of the National Assembly is to just make laws and give those laws to the government of the day, this state of federal, to implement such laws that will be at the advantage of the people they represent. Now, the open constituency office all over the place. What are those constituencies for? Just to put money when they come home. They don't do anything. So as far as I'm concerned, there has to be people in Nigeria has to sit down because there's no point in National Assembly member earning so much money. Maybe the son of somebody who left 5 years ago or 3 years ago, he has started earning 15 million. How would you not go and marry many wives? When the young man who's about 25 years or 35 get to the National Assembly, he has just have only 2 children. And he's taking 35 naira or 25 million every month. So that is the system. We have to agree on this particular thing. The president has to do that. He has to forget about politics and call the members look, I am sacrificing. Let you also sacrifice. Do you know that the president in last year December said he gave 200 trucks of rice to the members of the National Assembly? I am telling you, most of them converted to rice, except the man from, I forgot his name, from the state. That disclosed that thing, member of the House of Rep. All of the other was kept quiet. Some of them will convert the rice into money and start sending that text message as bank alert to their supporters, not for the people. So the president, that was why he told Petros, the Arewa, and they are very that go to your government, ask them to send let the money go down. So in Nigeria, today, anybody, if the president wants to make a difference, he has to forget about any constitution and go to the nitty-gritty of the problem of Nigeria. Call the National Assembly. Some members of the National Assembly, you ask them today, they are ready to say that let us adopt. Part-time legislation. If we adopt part-time legislation today, I am telling you by 2027, 80% of those people are there. They will not go. Do you know why they will not go there? Because the money will not be attractive enough. And that is when you are going to know those people who are committed to serving Nigeria and serving their constituency. But today, if the president wants to have any serious change in Nigeria, he has to call a meeting across party lines and say all the National Assembly members, let us crash that. Nigeria as a country, let us reduce this.
What's your take about the current move now? People calling for electricity. Even the newspaper wrote an editorial. What's your take? As a witness,
let me say something. Any Nigerian who is matured, who is calling for military takeover, has to have his head examined. Something especially is wrong there. And the problem is that people seem to have forgotten the fact that we were under military rule for first of all 30 years and 1979. Let us see what we are doing. Then 1998, 1994 to 1988, you know what we went through. I practiced as a journalist. And besides that, military rule is irresponsible. They reverted Nigeria's progress. And I believe that if they have allowed the civilians, they will have sorted themselves out in 1966 instead of. So military is an obligation, and for anybody to be calling for military rule in Nigeria, have to have a self-examine. I don't mind, because newspaper artists too, organizations too, have turned to be tools used in the hand of politicians or people who lost the election to turn back the. Anybody who's calling for military rule in Nigeria should be tried in the court of law. Anybody calling for military rule, you want to applicate democracy. No matter what you say, you can talk here today because you are in a democracy. For anybody to ask for military to take over, have to have a self-examine.
Okay, we go on a break now for the national news. When we return, we'll be taking calls from our listeners. Stay tuned.